Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true.
Welcome to Navtastic, a podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I'm Lisa Fernandes, and
I'm Chris Jayawardena. Hello.
And we're about to review Grand Opening, the 4th episode from the 6th season of Laverne and Shirley. Directed by John Tracy and written by Ruth Bennett. And I bet you get some facts about them, don't you, Chris?
I do. I got some very cool facts about Ruth in particular coming up.
That's excellent. And here's what the episode is about. Shirley's working her buns off at a local hobby shop during the day while trying to conserve the girls' budget and pay their bills. But Laverne has been stymied in finding a new job, and she's draining the girls' bank account, oversleeping, leaving the place a pigsty, and running up a huge phone bill by calling home to Milwaukee instead of contributing to the household in other ways. A guilty Laverne takes Sonny's offer of $20 to perform as part of a knife-throwing act at N.N. Frank's grand opening party for their Cowboy Bills franchise. But a lack of rehearsal time and Sonny's broken arm might mean there's some unusual revenge in the cards for Shirley. Meanwhile, Carmine arrives in California. What do you think about this one, Chris?
So, what is our take on, is the actual Mr. DeFazio much cuter?
He is, actually. Phil was cuter.
Yeah, that is, for folks that haven't watched the episode, a reference to the remote order taker machine, which is the basically this like prop thing that they have that has a striking resemblance to Frank DeFazio, but as Frank even says, it's much cuter. He's much cuter.
Yeah. Honestly, we never employ that prop enough, or even again after this episode.
Oh man,
so that's unfortunate. So,
I mean, I can see some
mileage out of it.
Totally. I mean, I could totally see Lenny and Squiggy like getting confused by it or trying to talk through it, or like, you know, I guess, mind you, we are 90s kids that grew up with Beavis and Butthead and the and their burger job. I can't remember what the place was called, but where they would mess with people through the through the radio.
Yeah. They could have done all kinds of things with it. It's like Carmine's dance studio in that certain elements of it are frustratingly underdeveloped and underused.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have all this premise potential and you don't go for it. I don't know.
But anyway, for the episode itself, it's good. This is another one of those episodes. There's some really good high points. I find I don't know, there's something, I think, because the fact there's not, I think, a really good resolution to the situation of, you know, Shirley being, you know, responsible and trying to take care of money, and Laverne struggling and goofing off, and kind of, you know, as I remember you saying, this is really where the homesickness kicks in.
Yeah.
It mostly works. Like, I enjoy this. Like, this is, I'm going to come around to, this is an episode I definitely will happily rewatch later, but is one that I wouldn't, like, go seeking out because it's a favorite sort of thing.
Yeah. This is high middle of the pack for me when it comes to California episodes. I like certain things that happen in this episode. I like the camaraderie between Laverne and the boys, and then the anti-camaraderie.
Mm-hmm.
I like the notion of Laverne being homesick, because this is a huge change for her.
Mm-hmm.
And she was the one who had a fear of being alone a season ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it feels like we under-address, you know, the girls feeling like they're fish out of water in California and miss Milwaukee, but this episode does do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very sitcom-y episode. There are a lot of little things I like about it. It's better than a lot of the early let's set up this premise episodes in the season.
Right.
You feel things... Sorry.
Oh, no. Exactly, though. This definitely is, as you were saying, where the normal is starting to take over.
Yeah, the new normal is starting to register for everybody. And we're starting to get a feeling for Cowboy Bills, for the relationships that we're going to be introduced to here.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, between the girls and Rhonda, Laverne and Sonny, which will not last, as we've addressed a million times, for very long. And between the boys and the girls, and Frank and Edna, and Cowboy Bills.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you think of Cowboy Bills as a premise.
So I still am a little tripped up that that Pop would take on a cowboy franchise.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if some of it was the that end of the 70s and into the early 80s, kind of the redneck cowboy flavor that, and I guess it's the nostalgia, right? Because it's the because that's what it feels like. Because in 65, this was during the 64, 65. This is around the end of the Western, where the Western was starting to die out cinematically and even just culturally. So it feels like, in a sense, like it is an old timer's place in a sense, and that having Frank be there makes a lot of sense because this is a way for him to sort of relax. He's in a sense, he's getting put out to pasture, just the pasture is a kind of a chill restaurant instead of, just go out into the pasture and maybe, die slowly.
Well, the show's going to show that the exact opposite is true, because there will be things afoot as the last 3 seasons of the show progresses.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting things will happen when it comes to Frank and when it comes to his job and when it comes to Cowboy Bills. They are kind of setting the franchise up as a combination of a Roy Rogers, a restaurant chain thing, and McDonald's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In a few episodes, we're going to learn that Frank had to go to Cowboy Bill's University.
Wow.
Like McDonald's University. Yeah.
I hope he went to the Cowboy Bill's University of Minnesota.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if he did. It would have been easier for him at the time to do it that way, but I think they implied that he went in California.
By the way, did you see the menu items on the like the hot peyote pie?
Yes.
The coyote sody.
Coyote sody. Yeah. Coyote sody's a favorite.
I need that menu. I absolutely need it.
Yeah. There are all kinds of screenshots and freeze frames of it online, so where you can look from thing to thing to thing what Cowboy Bill sells.
I love that.
It's more of a culinary disaster than anything at the Pizza Bowl.
Yeah, because the Pizza Bowl, I mean, it may not be like you may have a raw pizza, but then all you got to do is just take it outside, start a trash can fire, and cook it, and then you're good.
There you go. There you go.
Speaking of Cowboy Bills, we have to quickly talk about how on my second viewing, I noticed a few of the regular extras from earlier episodes of the show, including that guy with the dark hair and the bushy eyebrows who is in The Mortician. He's in Separate Tables, and he's in another episode. I cannot remember which. It might have been The Festival Part 1. Future me, track this guy down, get some pictures. You're gonna hate me later, I'm sure, but definitely track down some pictures for the YouTube version to put up.
Yes. Do this. I'm gonna assume that he is among the many extras that Gary Marshall threw in the background who were friends of his from the olden days in the club circuit.
Mm-hmm.
He just picture them in the background going, here's your paycheck. Enjoy.
And it also, yeah, totally. And again, also the question is how many of them are just the writing staff, just getting dragged in because it's like, we got to shoot this scene, and it's like, get out of the office, get over here.
Yeah, just finished being yelled at all week. Now sit here. Oh my goodness. There's so many little things about this episode. Like, you really get a feeling for the girls' personalities here, which I like. Laverne's more laid back, lazy, enjoy life way of living versus Shirley's industrious, busy bee way of living. Actually, I always enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And they love each other, but Shirley is basically swimming for her life, and Laverne's sitting there talking to Terry Buttafuoco over in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, if you, we should actually note that there have already been some opening title changes.
Yes. Goodness gracious. Yes. I still haven't had the chance to really go through all of the changes because I think it was last episode, right? We finally had the B-roll coverage and all the new stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. I need to actually do almost like a breakdown because it's to sort of match the times and match the way the show was evolving. It's a way faster edit. There's more location changes, and the staging is much more elaborate in the sense that there's more physical activity. it's kind of like that bit in Futurama, right? It's like, and remember, this is a motion picture, so we'll need to see lots of movement, move constantly, do everything, throw a pie for God's sake.
There are the specific new shots for this episode are Sonny and Laverne kissing in the girls' living room while the boys crawl through the doggy door and take a picture of them.
Oh,
kissing.
yes. There's that.
That's in there, and the shot of the girls roller skating is brand new.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the last episode, it was them laughing with the figure that we are introduced to, and we'll never see again. But I'm guessing as the season evolved, they just kept saying, "Oh, throw this in, throw that in, throw this in, throw that in," until they finally locked down a opening credit and a closing credit sequence. Mm-hmm. It takes till about, I want to say, 12 episodes in till we finally nail down the opening credits and closing credits, because after Ed Marinaro leaves, we have to remove him from everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's a very much a work in progress. You can kind of feel everybody trying to figure out what the heck this new version of Laverne and Shirley is, and how they're trying to sell it to America and the world.
Right. Yeah, as we were saying, this is definitely, even though it's set in the 60s, you can feel the echoes of trying to hit a more contemporary audience of the late 70s.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of interesting to pontificate of, like, post Miami Vice, what this show would have looked like.
Gosh, yeah.
Where, like, would they have had an episode where, there's a Don Johnson lookalike that comes on and looks all hip and cool, or, like a sci-fi episode post-Terminator or Aliens, where the boys get involved in some B-movie production that is supposed to be, from the mid-60s, but is really clearly about the 80s. But my point being, though, the present sense of presentation for the public is definitely, it's one of the things I guess I find kind of jarring, is that even though this crew is definitely, I think, getting much tighter, and, like, as we'll get into, like, the director and stuff, Tracy is a very good director, but at the same time, it feels a little bit more by committee and by experimentation rather than necessarily that sense of heart and vision that I felt the prior seasons had.
Yeah. I think with season 6, they're trying desperately to reshore up those ratings, and then it works. Then in season 7, they relax more, and yet there's more tension backstage, and they have to deal with stuff. Mounting stuff that causes a different kind of drama. But,
yeah.
Ultimately, there's a feeling of, okay, we have to get this going, we have to sell this, we have to make people convinced that it is a good thing, as we've said before.
Mm-hmm.
We have to talk about how they reintroduce Carmine to the fold.
Yeah.
Bigger than a dancing bread box.
That's adorable. I love that line. Okay, so as those who've listened to the show, and it feels weird because, like, we had a long break between recording season 5 and then recording now for season 6. Yeah. I've mellowed regarding Carmine. Yeah. And this, and I think also Eddie passing, I think, had a lot to do with that too.
Yeah.
But then this episode, I felt really sympathetic that he was basically being sidelined by, like, sort of like, we don't need you anymore. We got a stunt guy now. Your stunt double is replacing you, and it's like,
The funny thing is that the two of them will become roommates and friends. For a while here, so that's gonna happen. So keep your eyes peeled for that one.
Nice, good.
But yeah, there's a feeling they're playing to get rid of Carmine, and it didn't work out.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
We know it had nothing to do with Blansky's Breeze. Blansky's Breeze is over by now.
Mm-hmm.
So I know Eddie was trying to strike out as more of a Broadway actor, do more theater in the off time when he could. So I don't know if perhaps he wanted to get back on the Great White Way and leave the show. It actually is what Betty Garrett does at the end of the season. So we'll get there. You will eventually get there. But Carmine at first is less utilized. They start to utilize him later in the season, definitely in season 7 and 8, because they need him.
Right.
He becomes a utility player.
Yeah.
But at first, it's like, where does he fit in with the girl's new, quote unquote, swinging California lifestyle?
Right. It's a very element of, it's kind of like when you do a sequel and you have a bunch of new characters, the old characters kind of you need to find a place for them, and that weakens one or the other, the new characters or the old characters, and it feels like they allow the new characters to take precedence. I mean, this is actually one of my issues with the Star Wars sequel trilogy is that I loved seeing those characters return. I love the original trio, and I love Lando and all that, but I would have been totally fine with a brand new trilogy with new characters and say, okay, Skywalker Saga was done with Return of the Jedi. And because when you have too many, and that's, I guess, the thing is, they're trying. I think you put it well, that they're trying to find his place, and it's almost like they're trying to find room for Carmine at this point, because he clearly still has the chemistry with Shirley, and and you can even kind of feel that the joke about the two of them, him still being basically blue-balled by Shirley, it's not really working now. Because of like how much more liberated this season feels.
Yeah, well, we have officially moved, like I said, in the swinging 60s. Things get even wilder as the season goes on. And wilder as the last couple seasons progress after that. So it's not as if Shirley is holding on to her chastity for any other reason other than her personal moral standings, which in a way is admirable. But we also get strong hints that things are getting more intense between them.
Right.
At least by the time we get to season 7. So keep an eye out for that one.
Okay, I definitely will, because I'm kind of curious to what extent they will have because one of the things I find interesting also with the Carmine and Shirley relationship, at least how it feels in season 6, is that, especially the way she interacts here with him, there is a sense of like keeping up appearances, but that in private they're far more intimate and more, which is also, I think, a way of saying they're also more vulnerable with each other, because I think Shirley looks at sexual intimacy as an element of vulnerability, and that is something that when she's able to be, because she works so hard to present and to sell a story and to succeed, and she's working her ass off to do what she does, that lets her hair down when she's behind closed doors, and Carmine is someone she feels safe doing that with.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Ultimately, it's about the two of them getting together more and more strongly as a couple. We actually start to see in a couple episodes the show leaning towards kind of pairing up these two couples. We get like a sense of Carmine and Shirley plus Laverne and Sonny, and them being two couples doing coupley things.
Mm-hmm.
That gets ruined once Ed Marinaro takes off.
Right.
But for a while, you can almost feel like the show is building toward pairing these two couples off, and that's the end game.
Yeah, because, I mean, they even, it felt very significant the way they set up a double date at the end of this episode.
Yeah. It becomes even more so for the next, 5-6 episodes.
Wow. Okay.
And then, not anymore.
Not anymore. Sorry.
Not anymore, because Ed ran for the hills. And I cannot blame him, because the role that he got was plum. And he made the right choice career-wise. It's like Michael leaving to go do Spinal Tap. He made the right move.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really argue with that.
Yeah, it's the, when people, some people move on and then other stuff changes. And it just, the catch, I think, with this type of a show is also that, as we said, because of the fact that they're very much focused on being the sitcom, being the funny, being the this, and there's certain kind of tropes of that it means that as an actor, you are absolutely going to get stuck in a rut. And that's just kind of part of the problem with the format. And as much as I say that of sitcoms, that really is the case with any ongoing series.
Yeah. Yes, honestly, any ongoing movie series.
Absolutely.
Anything. There are genre formulas for every single form of fictional media.
Exactly.
Games and books and movies and TV shows, and that's just how it is. And the key is how you tell your story.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key.
Yep.
That's the key.
And that's the other thing I also, as I was saying about this series about because it feels so different season 6 from the prior 5 seasons. Even though there are clearly those elements, it feels so different to me, like spiritually, fundamentally, and it feels so California versus so Midwest / New Yorker, that it feels like a new show. Like it feels like, and I can understand that the writing staff, the producers, the cast, the crew, etc., that they wanted to do something new. And that's where I think this idea of you end a project at a certain point and then you do a new project with that same group. Like as much as people give a lot of crap to like Tim Burton for having, a style and a feel, I think it's actually kind of exciting sometimes when he has in the past. I don't know if he'll continue to do this, but you have his same crew, his same production designer, same cinematographer, etc. And it's like, okay, we're going to end this project now. We did this for, 3 years, and now we're going to go do something new. And like and even Scorsese and even and actually most importantly would probably be Spielberg, because Spielberg, for so many years it'd be like, okay, same cinematographer, usually the same writers like Scott Frank and John Logan and David Koepp and those sort of folks, and then figuring out what are they going to do next. And I feel like that's where this season is kind of going. It's starting to balance out. Now I'm starting to finally get the Laverne and Shirley feel more here, and with the prior episode with Studio City, because those first 2 episodes felt like you're practically like, okay, like saying to the show, like, you're practically setting up a entirely different series here. Like this doesn't, that's how it came off to me. I think this is finally me, after some weeks have passed, to be able to process and kind of phrase it the way that I felt about it. And it's because there's that element of clear inspiration or analog, but it feels so, I guess, like, I don't know, intrinsically different. Like part of its DNA has changed to where it's not, it's recognizably similar, but I know it's not the same.
We'll see, though. We'll see how you feel about, like, by the time season 7 rolls around. Because everything shifts and everything changes, and pretty much after, I think, Candy is Dandy, we have our premise, and we start settling in to what the show is going to be, and this is how we're going to roll for the next 3 seasons or so.
Mm-hmm. So,
go.
Speaking to that end, just to move on to the topics, is the whole gimmick of the third act of the episode, which is the knife trick. The knife act. What do we think of this? And how did this play? Like when you first watched this, I'm curious what you thought of it.
Typical slapstick, and probably the writer's going, ha ha ha! I bet you she'd love to do that to her, wouldn't she? Just you can see the cheap laugh in the writer's room about them staging this on one hand. Then we needed some physical comedy, and it's fun, it's silly. What makes this scene for me is the banter. The banter is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
The boys really bring the banter to the section of the episode.
Oh yeah, Mr. by a Mile, and I love how even Lenny is getting really encouraging.
Yeah. Even Lenny's like, kill her, which is ridiculous because 2 seconds before that, she looks at the boys and tells them she'll do anything at all if they get her down. And Lenny shoots Squiggy the most fleeting look, and Squiggy is so unmoved.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't catch that. That's adorable.
I still don't believe you didn't catch that. The way Lenny looks at Squiggy with his mouth wide open going, yeah, please, please, please. And Squiggy goes, cheap talk from a dead woman.
One thing that made the scene for me was the whole Shirley in the getup and the name Dead-Eye Feeney. I want a Western AU now about this.
Yeah. My note on the scene is Cindy's loving this.
Yeah.
She's having fun here.
I hopefully, well, I mean, I think only one of my Cthulhu game players, because I do, for those at home, I do I run a tabletop RPG based on Call of Cthulhu, and Dead-Eye Feeney is definitely showing up as a train robber.
Good. Very good. Did you notice the wingtip collars on our extras here?
I did notice a couple of those, yes.
Yeah, anachronistic 70s collars ahoy.
Yeah.
This used to be a thing in the background on the background characters during Cowboy Bill scenes, and it's annoying. Every time I see it, it's like they've given up. We're just gonna pretend it's the early '80s here, late '70s, and forget about everything.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time we see Rosita, who is
Yes.
Frank's waitress. She figures into a few episodes and then kind of fades in the background, unfortunately.
So that's interesting you mentioned that. Yeah, because the only other episode on IMDb aside from this one that she's credited for is Road to Burbank, and that's it.
Yep.
And-
She has a major role in Road to Burbank, and then gone
Yeah.
in the background.
To go ahead and just kind of jump into that really quickly, this is, basically one of the two major appearances. She really didn't, the actress Becky Gonzalez didn't really have much of a career even as well. Like they were trying to move around. She was on The White Shadow in a couple of different episodes, an episode of Heart to Heart, and even popped up in Night Shift, which was co-written by Gans and Babalu Mandel, and she's even in Young Doctors in Love.
Oh.
But she didn't really. It seems like pretty much that was kind of it in the early to mid '80s, and it's unfortunate because I really like this character because I love I love how she jokes with Pop. I like that sense of humor where it's like she's kind of aware of what the sort of racist stereotype they're expecting, but then she's like, "I'll see you in court." It's like yes,
she's a lawyer. She's a trainee lawyer. We're gonna hear more about that in Road to Burbank. She's fabulous in what little we get of her. I love when she's talking to Laverne about why she's so concerned about Shirley pretending we learn pretending. Why she's so concerned about Shirley throwing knives at her. And she hears about the phone calls, and she looks at Laverne and goes, "So long, partner."
Yeah.
It's a great line.
It's a great exchange. Yeah, it's a good callback to that bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this as a good hallmark example of physical comedy in the Laverne and Shirley world, and everyone's performances is what makes the scene.
Yeah, it's a good scene on paper, but they are able to make it amazing with their acting. Speaking of on paper, I'd love to get a chance to talk about the folks behind the camera because I'd love to because there's a lot of things in the dialogue I love in this episode. Like it just like Rhonda, the exchanges with Rhonda. It's like, what is it? Rhonda, I don't care about your life. Have I ever told you that? Like that is scathing venom. But at the same time, it's like, it's also, it's such a Shirley way of saying, I'm done with you. Please leave. Yeah. Like those types of exchanges, Sonny, the whole, like the reveals at the end. So Ruth Bennett was the writer of the episode. And, at this time, she was getting her start as a writer for TV. This was actually her second written by credit after an episode of Taxi the previous year. Wow. She has one more episode of Laverne and Shirley to go, so we'll revisit her at some point. She went on to create multiple shows through the 80s, which is interesting. And these are mostly one-seasoners. So she created and wrote for Sarah, the show with Gina Davis and Alfred Woodward. She also got a ton of script credits for Family Ties. And with Susan Seeger, who wrote Not Quite South of the Border last season, she created both Duet and Open House.
Oh, wow. I loved that show when I was a kid. Watch it on Fox.
And so, that was, and it looks like they had kind of like a writing partnership. So I wouldn't be surprised if they may have met each other during the writing room of this series.
That's awesome.
And so Ruth, stayed active writing for sitcoms and up until about 2002. And it looks like the last credit she had was for an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh.
This is a really, really good script. Like, as much as I have my, like little quirks about it, like it's like, this is one I would have fun directing. I would enjoy. I can just imagine like getting that text and getting to play with like the notes where you're like, add a little emphasis here, add a note there, work with the actors. Like, what do you think about this? And it's a really fiery, engaging piece.
It really is. I do like the writing here. I do like a lot of the writing here. Probably my favorite part is when Shirley's cooking Laverne Feeney family fish stick flambe.
Mm-hmm.
Which she sets on fire, and in come Lenny and Squiggy and Laverne wearing their Donald Duck caps. Squiggy, as you notice, has drawn-on eyes.
Yes.
And they are all singing the Mickey Mouse theme, the Mickey Mouse Club March, and they have been to Disneyland together, and that's adorable. I call it the cutest moment ever in my notes.
Oh, yeah, it is adorable, and and even Lenny, Michael's delivery of "It really is a magical world, Cheryl."
Yeah, yeah. I love that Laverne considered going to go be Snow White. Imagine though if they had gone that direction. Just imagine we would never see any seasons of this show past season 5
Yeah.
if they had gone that direction. Because no way would Disney let them use their music or iconography.
Oh, certainly.
I don't think.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I mean, because even the Alice in Wonderland play that they did, even though it's inspired by elements of the Disney version, it's clearly it's like no, these are close enough to the illustrations we can get away with it.
Yeah. You can tell the costumers are like, nope, just a little bit of inspiration, more this, more the book.
Yep. Yeah, because it's very because I mean. Because Disney's litigiousness really started just a few years after this, right?
Yeah. Yep. It started I think around the 80s or 90s, somewhere around the Eisner period, ironically enough.
Yeah, ironically enough, right? Because he helped make the show what it is.
Yep. He's the one who is involved in making sure Cindy Williams was there.
Yep.
And in that cast. So I'm telling you.
So again, back to this particular scene though. Okay, scale 1 to 10. How much do you love Len can get pretty ugly?
That 10, because that was adorable, and he tries. He tries to get ugly.
Oh, I hope I never have to get that ugly again.
I love that Laverne's still planning on sneaking out with him. That's adorable.
Yes. It's adorable, and the glares, the looks, and Shirley feeling super left out and hurt, and that must sting. Like I've had people do that. I hate when people do that. It hurts.
Yeah.
And the I also love we see here Shirley's subtle boo boo face. It's a boo boo face that's more subtle, and therefore it really hurts so much more. And then Laverne tries to make it better by putting the little hat on her.
Yeah. They're the cutest. It is the cutest, and it shows you how closely knit these 4 characters have become in spite of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Which, considering when we get backstory of what happened during the road trip, is kind of amazing. But we're gonna get there.
Yeah, I get the feeling that episode hadn't been written yet.
Yeah, but then further canon continues to ignore it, and they get closer and closer. Like the boys are basically the girls' closest friends, and they stay their closest friends. Throughout season 6 and 7 and into season 8, especially when Laverne's got nobody else to talk to. After a while, neither does Squiggy. So, so they talk to each other. That's the option.
But that's the thing. They're close. They hang out. I mean, there's definitely benefits to having friends like that.
Exactly. The girls, by the way, do go to Disneyland together later.
Oh, good. Phew.
This is referenced later in canon. It's a background detail in one of the show's most what the heck are we watching episodes. We'll get there. We'll get there. I love that they're all good. I love this specifically Knott's Berry Farm. I just love this specifically Knott's Berry Farm. I think it's cute.
Yeah.
I wrote Three Stooges OT3. I love them at one point in these notes.
That is, that's kind of, that's sort of what I was feeling too. Is like, okay, I can see it now. I can see it.
See? You get some of this in the Milwaukee years, the notion that Laverne hangs out with Lenny and Squiggy without Shirley being there. Because Squiggy drives Shirley crazy.
Right.
In the non-fun way.
In a non-fun, exactly. Right. And
in a let's punch each other to death way. And you don't get that with Laverne and Lenny, their chemistry. You could compare, like I said, in Welcome to Burbank, when Rhonda spies them all together for the first time and thinks they're all couples. And the way they react to the notion of being couples. Where Laverne and Lenny's just like, and Shirley's Squiggy like, no, get away from me, don't touch me.
Yeah.
Why are you touching me?
Yep.
Let go of me. And that's why we call it great hate sex. Anyway.
The return of the great hate. The return of great hate sex.
Yes, the return of great hate sex. Also, we try and insert a little more cultural flavor of the times. Laverne and listen to an entire Beach Boys record. They don't say which one
Right.
over the phone.
Right. And that's, I remember as a kid, I did even used to do long distance phone calls. This is when long distance was.
Oh yeah.
You could do it like once a month, right? Back in the 90s. But I had my best friend when I was growing up, moved to Arizona when his parents split, and so I didn't have Beach Boys. I got to hear Insane Clown Posse for the first time when I was 10, because he was 4 years older than me, and I got to hear 2 tracks of it on the phone. So yeah, I know this feeling. But the idea of like that whole that was adorable, and I felt that was great. And it's a piece of that era in history because people were so into music in the 60s that like it's kind of something we've forgotten.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I used to play with my dolls with my friend who moved away over the phone.
Oh, God, that's cute.
We sit there and we play with our Barbie dolls over the phone. That's what we do.
That is too precious. Oh my God, I love that.
And we talk about the Sweet Valley Twins and about Babysitter's Club.
Oh,
that's what we do.
Oh God, that's a treasure. I want to snuggle you now. But yeah, the other thing I want to mention about the scene though. Okay, so Laverne's in a shirt and her underwear, so she's just been kind of lounging around the house. It's a mess, Now, at least you do see the newspaper, and I like that the newspaper has been thrown around in such a way that she's probably getting mad because she's been calling every place for a job, and she's trying to talk with them over the phone about it. Because sometimes you can actually get the job over the phone. They just interview you there, and she's probably thrown the papers in anger. There's all these great little details in that scene. I noticed the sexy panties that she's wearing.
Yes, you did know. You noticed that she's wearing black underwear underneath her nightgown.
Right, or it's a long shirt, right? It's like a sports shirt or something. Or is that
it's a jersey. It's a sleep jersey. I think it's a Bucks jersey.
Right.
From Milwaukee.
Right,
and it's very Laverne.
But now, obviously, this could just be a case of, clearly they're not going to be wearing full, dressing gowns and all the all that stuff, in California because it's just too freaking warm. So she's been basically lounging her, essentially her quote unquote pajamas all day. But, just going back to the thing of, women only wear the sexy underwear when there's something afoot. Now, it could just be it's laundry day and she hasn't cleaned the house. And so, that's all that's left because I've got my nice pair of socks my nerd socks that I pretty much only wear when there's either I'm going to a special event or there's no other socks in the drawer. They're Fallout 4 socks, by the way. But it did make me wonder if there was some afternoon delight going on and if that was kind of part of the implication. But in any case, I did think those were interesting little details that felt like kind of like interesting subtext about Laverne's behavior because I could see her wanting to blow off some steam with just like a random hookup or just something like that.
I could see that happening, but I think it's a little bit too soon in the California era for her to be doing this. In a few episodes, in a few episodes, and actually by season 7, she's just going out with guys who randomly show up at her door that were directed there by the boys.
Oy.
That actually happens. They lean so hard on the Laverne's horny dubstep crutch that it just basically becomes their personality for like 2.5 seasons until it culminates in perhaps the show's worst episode.
Yeah, that is unfortunate because I guess the point is that doesn't feel
organic to her.
Yeah, because it's because I don't mind promiscuous. It's not even that I necessarily don't mind promiscuous characters. I like promiscuous characters when they're done well, when they're done interesting. There's a delight and joy about them. I mean, we find the same thing about James Bond betting certain women because sometimes he's a really cool dude to them, and he's a good lover. And so with what you're describing, what that means is like you have the boys sending men to Laverne because they know that she's horny, and she's just always
she'll sleep with them without asking questions. It's even worse.
That's horrible. Like and
Cannon backs their impression up, which is even worse.
So that basically that is fantasy object bullshit. That's me glaring at one of the writers in the writers' room, sort of thing.
Triple even worse when they try to reverse this in the middle of season 8. They press really hard on the Catholic guilt button. So it gets even worse. That's season 8. And that's season 8. If they just had Laverne kind of being free with her sexuality and just going for it and not caring, it'd be awesome. But the show kind of shames her for it, and then it makes her so over the top horny that she's not even asking questions about her safety anymore.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. She's not looking for rings, literally. That becomes a plot multiple times. She does not look for wedding rings.
And that's really, that's the wrong way to do it. It's like it's
exactly.
like writers, come on, knock it off.
Yeah. It's just bad. It's bad. Like I said, Port Laverne comes out of Carmine's mouth. We'll get there too.
Anyway,
the G-string joke, Robert, did make me laugh.
Yes. Oh, that's adorable, and especially because it's like no for my guitar. That's a great bit.
Yeah. And absolutely, Penny looks great in that bathing suit. That was a nice bit wardrobe choice. I love Laverne considering jumping into jell-o for money. That feels very much a her thing. You think she'd learn though after chipping her tooth on the boys' jell-o?
Yeah. But jell-o jumper is definitely quite a thing. And it's funny. I actually mentioned it sounds hazardous in my notes, like before Sonny comes in with the broken arms.
Yeah. Exactly. I love that Rhonda's just there tanning on their balcony because it's a tanning emergency. I guess she doesn't have a balcony in her place.
Yeah. Well, she probably wants a degree of privacy. It would explain the bricked up the bricked up wall or doorway, I should say.
If she wants privacy, though, you don't go to a place where the boys are just liable to bump in at any moment. Just throw the door open.
True.
I don't know if she knows that they do this yet, but
okay,
it's probably safer in her place.
I have things that are not very PG-13 to say that could be in Rhonda's favor regarding that.
Snow White and the 7 escaped convicts.
But in any case, the whole, like, as I was saying, like, I really liked these little subtleties of the writing these little bits of dialogue, and just the interaction between Laverne and Sonny is again something that the text is good, and then the actors are able to bring so much heart to it. And I love how Sonny's into Laverne, but he's keeping her at just enough of a safe distance that obviously he's taking control of the situation, but he's doing it, I think, for the right reason of sort of like, slow down. Like, I don't want this to just be a couple of dates and we're done. You're cool. I like you. It makes him endearing is what I guess I'm getting at.
Yeah. It works. It largely works. The relationship between them largely works, and it is sweet. Genuinely. It's genuinely sweet, the connection that they have. Honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I also love the way he cares about her, which is why he's kind of reluctant to even let her stand there and let him pretend to throw knives at her, which we learn to pretend eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So after the tanning emergency, enter Carmine with his bald spot. She has a bald spot. Am I nuts? That's a bald spot on his head.
It's a little bit. I wasn't able to see it super clearly, but I mean, clearly I was distracted by other things than the back of Eddie Mecca's head. Sorry, Eddie. I think he would forgive me for that one, for that scene. Yeah. But it's definitely at the very least a sign that hey, they're all growing up a little bit in small ways.
Yeah. Eddie was the youngest cast member though. He was the youngest. I think he's still in his 20s. Poor guy. Yeah. I haven't noticed that. It's the first time I ever noticed that rewatching the episode. He had a bald spot this time. I love Are You Anybody?
Oh my god, yes. Oh, that line. Yeah, the interaction between Carmine and Rhonda is interesting because one things I love is there's a flirtiness at first, and then very quickly Carmine begins to realize, I don't know if I want to get mixed up with this chick. Yeah, because she's scary. Yeah. Rhonda is wonderfully avaricious in the best of ways. I say that with love. She's almost like Twist in Spaced, Kinda. Because there's that line in the beginning of season 2 how Tim describes her as she's either an evil genius or she's either incredibly stupid or an evil genius. And the thing about Rhonda is that she's more clearly an evil genius
Yeah.
and very self-aware, and that makes
Yeah.
her so much more scary to me.
Yeah. With Rhonda, she's gonna do anything to climb that glass mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who's in her way, she's gonna step over, and if you're a producer, she will make time for you. Let's put it that way. I have a note here that says, I know way too much about everyone's showering habits now.
You mean as to Carmine running out to take a cold shower?
No, there was something else. I forget that. Now I forget how the heck the line was. I think it was about either about Laverne skipping a shower. Now I can't remember why the heck I have this note here. But I wrote it down for a reason, and I'm gonna use it. Damn it!
It ain't gonna fit nowhere else. We'll put it. We'll just turn it into a sticker. Put it on this podcast. But there it goes.
Spadoink.
Badoink. Also, love the freeze frame and commercial break. The freeze frame for Sonny. I marked it as a commercial break, but on the second view, and I realized it wasn't a commercial break. Yeah. But yeah, Sonny, he's broken. So that stinks.
Poor broken Sonny. Never jump out of buildings, kids. Ain't worth it.
Yeah, don't jump out of buildings and don't jump into. Well, actually, he even said, have someone help you clean the jell-o off.
Yeah. Yep. Don't slip in the shower either.
Right.
That's the ultimate lesson. Don't slip in the shower.
So as we're going then into the finale scene, what are we thinking about Princess Tumbleweed?
It's one of those, yet another one of those, oh god, anachronistic references to cowboys and Indians that we as a society will outgrow soon enough.
Yeah.
Oy vey. It is not the show at its best when it does things like this, but culturally, pretty much every other show was doing it, so, you know, it's not solely a Laverne and Shirley problem, it's an America Has Issues problem.
Exactly. Yeah. It's something where we have a chance, it's something where we still need to grow and we need to rewrite the book because, oh boy, there's a lot of errors. We need to remember that the mythologizing of the West is kind of like medieval portraits of animals.
Yes.
Although less cute.
Yes. I'm picturing giant snails now. Just giant, huge snails about to be stabbed to death by angry medieval people.
Yeah, well, you know, French, whatever.
Yeah. And thus has society continued along the same long pathway.
Slowly,
Oh,
like a snail.
Oh,
The shell represents colonialism and racism. Anyway.
Yes. Yeah, anyway, so, you know, the boys in their costumes kill me, and they spy Carmine, and they go, the big raccoon, don't we owe him money?
Yeah, it's like, Yeah, they just like quickly sneak off to the side. I love that.
Yep. I must add, though, our brief reference to Native American culture, in quote-unquote, racism cup, will not be as bad as the 2 times Rhonda dresses up like a geisha during season 7. That's all.
Oh god, hang on. Where's my gaming dice? I need to roll for how much psychic damage I just took. Oh god.
Roll for psychic damage on season 8.
You know what? We should do. Okay, we're gonna do that. Do you have a gaming dice set? Because if you don't, I'm gonna get you one. So when we get to season 8, we're both gonna roll for how much psychic damage we take every single episode.
Wait till we get the ghost story. You'll jump out a window. That'll happen.
Oh god. Anyway,
I'm specifically referencing Ghost Story because it's like among the worst. It's among the naders of the season.
Oy.
Yes, but I love how worried everybody. Carmine's worried. Carmine's kind of worried Shirley's gonna kill Laverne. Mm-hmm. Look at Eddie Mecca's face throughout that scene.
Yeah, it's like okay, I'm gonna roll the drum. I hope I'm not about to witness a murder here. It wouldn't be the first time because clearly I have mob connections. But okay.
This is simply watching Shirley murder somebody because he knows that she could kill him next.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Oh, man.
I love Laven's, oh, Lord, if I die, you're going to miss a great confession.
Yeah, that's a good one. And Frank's, ain't my muffin a great little actress?
That's great. Yeah. That is, how you do it when it comes to having Laverne be more promiscuous, but also having Catholic guilt. That's how you do it.
Yes.
You do it playfully, not heavy-handed slamming your fist into the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Boy. But yeah, Laverne ends up not dead.
Yep.
Shirley comes off looking like a hero.
Yep.
Lenny does not get some, to his everlasting regret in this episode from his face.
Yep.
And Squiggy has a good time, so.
Yeah.
And Cowboy Bill successfully opened.
It does. With familiar faces all around.
Yes. And one of those chairs now belongs to me.
That's right. Yeah, future me, put up the picture of that chair. Thank you. And the other thing also is the Carmine moving to Burbank, and they get the welcome to Burbank kiss, and he goes, Sonny said I could stay with him unless I get a better offer, and she misses the hint by a mile. And I love that that's treated as not a she's shooting him down. She's completely oblivious to what he's implying.
Yeah. The show does not try to even go there when it comes to the girls living with a guy without ding ding and wedding ring happening until season 7. We get a whole episode about this. But to Shirley's mind, it absolutely does not even pop in there. And even when this happens, it doesn't pop into her head until it happens. So we will get there. But yes, the two of them get to make out, and make out copiously. Carmine and Shirley, I mean here. Sorry, everybody else. There will be another kiss, though, between Laverne and Shirley before the season ends, so keep her off of that one.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, though, I really liked we didn't get a chance to really talk about the moral of the story too much, but the idea of, like, you give up too easily, the conclusionary message of, like, getting discouraged, and she's she's kind of letting things slide. And obviously, with us as in a different time now, because, I mean, my mother being able to tell me that you could live in California in the 70s, in LA, in studio, in somewhere in the Burbank area or somewhere in the LA area for $125 a month definitely puts things in perspective. But
inflation.
But it's a good thing, I guess, to remember, is that sort of tenacity to keep trying, and that, because what's kind of cool about it is that Cheryl even has, the situation come up that she loses her job in this episode.
Yeah.
She has to, because of unwanted pregnancy. Not hers, but
unplanned pregnancy.
Excuse me, an unplanned pregnancy.
And everyone was horrified.
Right. And that, basically, just got to get back to the grind, It's I also like it's a refinement of Laverne's adjusting thing from testing.
Yeah.
Where, because she is given a no, and so she stops. She's like, okay, that's a wall. I'm going to go around the wall.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very fitting for her to go around the wall, and, they adjust. She adjusts, and Shirley dreams, as we have established. And in this case, Shirley tries to look at the positive. Well, we'll go job ending together. And in the next episode, we'll see what kind of job they get. And did you notice the audience's gasp before when Laverne strapped Shirley back into the knife throwing table?
I did notice that, yes.
Yeah, the audience thought, it's like, oh my god, we're about to witness a murder.
At the very least, things are getting like, whoa. And part of that, I think, is just the energy of this, which is good. That means they're communicating the energy of the scene so well, the audience is react. That's what you want. You got to get them to react. You got to build up your energy and then enkindle it really in the audience.
Yeah, it's really good. I love how that conversation becomes about, Laverne adjusting to the atmosphere in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about adjusting. We're also talking about, what it's like to keep meeting with failure again and again and again and again and again and again. And then, after a while, you just want to have a little fun and just say, forget it.
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced that on the job hunt. I've been through that.
Oh, yeah.
I think we all have.
Yeah, it's common. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, when I was looking for editing gigs for a while before the job I have now, I had so many people that, would say like, well, you're not what we're looking for, or it's really good, but can you do this? And it's like completely different from, and it's just, it's discouraging. but you also have to just keep trying, because eventually someone takes notice of your capabilities, and either they take a chance on you or they offer you something more in line with what you want to do. It's not to say that it's perfect, but it's that there is, I don't know. I'm an optimist. I try to be looking forward to the future with a sense of hope. And I feel like that is kind of one of the positive things about this episode, is how it moves in that direction, and that even though there are those bumps and scrapes, and I guess that's what I guess I liked about the script, is it balanced those tones of optimism with snarky comedy so well.
Yeah.
Because that has been one of the show's, problems for me, is that its optimism is very sappy, and its snark can get too mean. And it found the balance. So it's very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the end, the harmony is somehow discovered. Because it depends on how things are going in the writer's room. Because we know from hearing them talk about it, that the writing process could be a pain, and people could be annoying. So
also, can we just say that Cindy is just amazing in this one?
She is. Cindy holds the weight of this episode together beautifully. She and Penny have a beautiful counterbalance in this episode, as all good episodes of Laverne Shirley ought to have. The boys coming in to add spice. And even Betty and Phil get to add a little bit to this stew. Though, once again, they continue to tragically underuse Betty Gerhardt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Also, some great stuff from Leslie.
Yes, Leslie is fantastic. Ed continues to be very cute.
Yes.
And Eddie was back to being likable Carmine. Holy cow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fine episode. It really ultimately is a fine episode.
Yeah.
In the end, we get some solid good stuff.
Yeah.
Out of it.
It's a good time.
So Carmine and Shirley are reestablished. Sonny and Laverne start a thing here. And for a while, that's going to be our status quo. Only one of our couples will do slightly better than Uncle Fungi. Only one of them.
As in, wait, one of them's gonna get a heart attack?
Actually, we get a lot of broken limbs, but no heart attacks.
Mm.
This season has a lot of broken limbs. Yeah. I wanted to mention Betty looks great in her braids.
She looks
adorable.
Oh my god, I forgot to mention those are so cute. Oh my god.
Yes,
and the Fredna kiss is so cute. Please tell me there's at least one episode that's just about Frank and Edna for this season, because
it is, but they fight during most of it.
Fudge. Oh god, they're so cute in this season. That's terrible.
Yeah, I know. For the most part, they're very cute, and then disaster at the end of the season, which we'll get to.
Boo. Don't like. But yeah, so this is interesting. I mean, I felt like these last two episodes, this and Studio City, I felt like it was returning to normal, and I enjoyed these a lot more.
Yeah. I just plain like this episode.
Yeah,
this is probably the first episode that I really love from season 6. There's a lot more coming up. This is one of the very first ones that I really love. And
yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
it's good. It's good and it's good to hear that you say there's even better coming up, because
oh yeah, Dating Game is ahead of us. Born Too Late is ahead of us.
That's right, Born Too Late.
We got a lot of good ones. Sing 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 is ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
You got some good stuff ahead.
Yeah, cool. So I think we're ready to rank this one. I didn't talk about director John Tracy, but the only piece of trivia I had for him today was that in addition to helping his family with international rescue, he would go on to direct 134 episodes of Growing Pains from 85 to 91, which makes up most of the show's run.
Wow.
Yeah, as said before, this dude was another Mr. Sitcom, to the point going into his IMDb is like discovering a treasure trove of sitcoms you may or may not have heard of. It's wild. Highly recommend that to our listeners.
Wow. Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. Love sitcoms, at least I do.
Yeah, you love sitcoms.
Yeah. I know. We already know.
I will not belabor the point. But on a lighter note, what are we ranking this one?
This is, for me, it's a high 7.8. Yeah, 7.8. It's not upper echelons, but it is a lot of fun. It's got some great scenes, great physical comedy, a good moral, good conflict between the girls that get settled well. So, good material for absolutely almost every single cast member. Carmine gets introduced. Actually, I think I'm gonna go. No, I'm not gonna. I can't go with an 8 point. No, I should. Maybe I should go with an 8.0.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with an 8.0.
Yeah,
It's
there you
not
go.
a 9 or 10. Like it's not like 9 or 10 amazing, but it's a good episode. It's probably one of the best episodes of the early stretch.
Well,
of, season. You're gonna go lower.
I'm going to follow you. I was thinking of like a 7.3 or 7.5, really 7.5 or so.
That probably is right.
Yeah, and I think and I think I'm gonna claw back up to that. I think 7.5 normally, 7.8 on a good day, because then then I could reach up and give you pats. But yeah, this is really solid stuff. I really enjoyed this felt more like getting back to Laverne and Shirley. I think this and these last two. I think conceptually I like Studio City more, but this had far better execution. This is far more watchable. Yeah.
The first like 3 episodes this season kind of suffer from we are establishing order. Welcome to Burbank is fun enough. Studio City has its moments. This is the first one that really clicks, at least for me. We start going, this feels more like the girls just in California.
Right.
And, of course, not quite New York just wraps everything up from the Milwaukee years. So, yeah.
Cool times. All right, so I guess, is that everything for today? I think that covers all our notes.
I do believe so.
All right.
I do believe so.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone out there, for listening to us at Night After Night. And if you would like to know more, please join us on Twitter at Night After Night PC or Night After Night Pod on Facebook, Tumblr, WordPress, YouTube, Patreon, or wherever podcasts are sold. And if you would like to get in touch with us directly, you can reach us at nightafternightpod@gmail.com. And if you got any questions, all that sort of stuff, you can throw us a line. We may not get to it till the next season, or we'll have to do edits in between because we record these ridiculously ahead of advance. Not as much as we used to, though, thank God. Anywho, I feel like I don't know. I don't see what's up ahead. It looks kind of sweet or tight.
Yes. The girl's in a new job wrapping gifts at a department store named Bardwell's. But Laverne soon runs afoul of a package of alcohol-laden chocolates which might get them fired before they even start. This is Candy is Dandy.
All right. Candy is Dandy.
Bye, y'all. And for heaven's sakes, if you're going to throw knives, be sure they pop out from the back and not in your friend's back.
Unless you're a villain in a Amicus horror anthology.
Hopefully you're not.